After a relatively disappointing season in Germany with Leverkusen, we still have the chance to end it with a cup final victory. The only problem is the team that stands in the way of us lifting that trophy is Bayern Munich, who've been a pretty indomitable force in Germany over the last couple of decades. Really, you have to go back a long, long way to find the last time a club other than Bayern won the title. However, that has changed recently because Borussia Dortmund have tipped them to the Bundesliga crown this campaign, and they haven't had the most remarkable end to the season. They lost 1-0 to Köln and drew 2-2 with Mainz before they did romp to a 6-1 victory against Leipzig in the cup semi-final, but then they've also drew 1-1 with the same opposition in the Bundesliga and lost 2-1 to Frankfurt on the last day of the season, so they are not infallible. However, our perfect end to the season has been spoiled. We were on a fabulous run of form and everything was looking rosy in the Leverkusen garden. We made it to the cup final with that 2-0 victory over Mönchengladbach that you saw in the last episode. We played the same opposition in the league a few days later, and we rested a number of our star men who were a little hungover from the cup celebrations, but we managed to win 4-2 in this game. Whilst we rested Roberto Pena on the bench, Oscar Mendes stepped into his place and fired us into the lead. And the man that came in to deputise for Pena was Spanish forward Alexi, and he managed to curl home a vicious effort to put us 2-0 up. But then there was a worrying fight back. Borussia Mönchengladbach scored 2 quick goals. But on 70 minutes, we managed to ease our way back into the lead as Pena off the bench set up Mihajlic, before Alexi managed to score his second goal of the game late on, playing a neat 1-2 with Mihajlic before slotting home. We also rested some players against Frankfurt. Pena started this game just to keep his sharpness up, and he gave us the 1-0 victory. And to that last game of the season where we took on Köln, we were the away team and Köln were 6, but we expected to win. But what you expect and what you get in Football Manager can be two very different things, and with just 28 minutes gone, we were 2-0 behind. The worrying part about this game is that we were playing a full-strength team, hoping that they would get some match sharpness before the cup final. So to go down 3-0 in this game when you've named your strongest lineup was a little bit of a worry, and we had some concerning performances. Pereira played as a centre-half and got a 6.4. Smith started and got a 6.1. Mendoza still baffles me a little at right back. He's meant to be far stronger than his deputy, but he put in another poor performance in this game. He only scored a 6.2. And the other problem heading into the cup final is the number 10 slot. Manzano is a fabulous player. He's valued at anything up to £88 million. Physically, he's excellent. Mentally, he is superb. And the passing and the technique mean that he should be a perfect player to play in this attacking midfield slot, but he's put in a number of poor performances in that area, and it's left me thinking whether we do change the tactic for the final game we've got in charge of Leverkusen. And that defeat on the final day of the season meant we dropped a league position from 3rd down to 4th. Leipzig won their game whilst we were losing to Köln. We were tied on 71 points, but they have the superior goal difference, and the additional insult is that it also means that we are the first Leverkusen boss in 12 years not to guide the club into the top 3 in the league. And so to that tactic, and we made some big calls on the eve of the cup final. Let's start with injury news. Roberto Pena, of course, your best player, picked up a damaged heel in that defeat against Köln on the last day. He was meant to be out for up to 9 days. He's recovered a little quicker than that, but he still needs another day before he's back at full fitness. But I don't think you can afford to leave out a man who scored 38 goals during the season, that even though he's not going to be at his sharpest, he gets the nod today. He'll be starting up front with Mendes, but we're going to do away with the number 10. We are playing a very tough opponent in Bayern Munich, one that will show you in the scout report has beat us heavily twice this season. So we're going to go with a 3-man central midfield. Manzano's going to drop back from the number 10 slot and be the central midfielder on attack. And Renier's going to move out to the left, go on to a support duty, and hopefully make us a little bit more robust in midfield. But the big calls don't just end there. We've also made 2 in defence as well. I've decided to drop our starting right back. Christopher Mendoza is valued at almost £60 million, but he's not had a great campaign, averaging a 6.82, even though his deputy, Miguel Cardosa, is not worth anything near as much. He has averaged over a 7 this season, so we're going to give him the nod today, and I do like his personality in the run-up to a cup final. We're also going to leave out one of our centre-backs. Vincent Smits had a poor game against Cole. A 6.1 just 7 days ago is not good enough. So we're bringing back the man who I swore would never play for the club again, Junior. We fell out when he challenged me over a team talk. It ended up with him going on the transfer list. I eventually cancelled the move that he had his heart set on back to his native Brazil. Well, he could still well be leaving the club, but he's going to finish with a cup final appearance, even though I don't think we are the best of friends. We do have the look of a team that could concede goals. I fancy Bayern Munich to score at least 2 in this game. Our only hope of lifting the cup is to outgun them. Bayern Munich go into this tie clear favourites, but their last 2 results mean that there is cause for hope, and they will be bruised from losing the Bundesliga for the first time in 20 years. Amazingly, Julian Nagelsmann is still at the helm and is only 44 years old, and the squad is packed with danger men such as Adeyemi, Kimmich, Davis, Bellingham, Camavinga, and former Leverkusen hero Florian Wirtz. Bayern beat us 2-0 in the Super Cup and have also defeated us twice in the league, winning 4-1 on both occasions. Several Munich men will need to have an off day as Leverkusen take on Bayern. The players march out for the cup final. The team talk has gone well. We've motivated the troops. Whether that will be enough to overturn 2 humbling, humiliating, awful performances against Bayern earlier in the season, time will tell. To be honest, I would take extra time now. We've trained penalties in the week because we know that beating Bayern is an unlikely proposition. They have torn through us like a hot knife through butter on 2 occasions this season. But we have dropped the mentality for today's game. We have dropped the number 10 into midfield. You never know. We could spring a surprise, and we've got an early corner which the injured Peña rises to meet. But heads over the bar. Bayern are coming forward now. We've held out until 14 minutes, but Alphonso Davies is raiding down the left flank. We're probably not going to be able to cut out the ball as Camavinga feeds Wirtz. Wirtz has been a thorn in our side in the 2 games we've played this season. Fortunately, Cabrera keeps him out on this occasion, but we do have a corner to defend. Kimmich sends it in. We're pretty strong aerially, so I would hope to defend these well, although that could be famous last words, as Bayern have a second corner in succession. Kimmich sends the out corner this time, and there is the curse, as Tanguy Nyanzu rises unchallenged and thumps it past our keeper. I should never have mentioned that we were strong in the air, as Peña doesn't even jump despite being 6'5". He's welded to the spot. The damaged heel must have harmed him, and we are a goal down early again, and now we are fearing a third thrashing at the hands of Bayern that we have suffered this season. They've sent the ball back to their keeper. We are vulnerable to those long balls over, although this time Junior wins it. And now we can try and bring the ball forward. Manzano playing a little deeper today. Ball's back with Junior, and now we've got Mendes, and he has fed Cardoso. And we are actually in because Manzano has burst forward. He went a little wide. He didn't even challenge the keeper with his shot. Instead, it was charged down by a defender. And now Adeyemi brings the ball forward for Bayern. They've got it to Alphonso Davies. He's already looking at danger down the left. Fortunately, we see this one out for a corner. Well, I did say I didn't think we'd keep a clean sheet. I was proved right. We've managed to see off that corner, but we've got some work to do to try and get back into this game. We've had 2 shots, although neither have been on target. Bayern are already looking to try and dominate us. Peña might not make it through the game with that heel injury, and I see him as our main goal threat, so if we're not at least level when we need to take him off, I struggle to see how we're going to win this game. Kimmich has the ball for Bayern. We've managed to win it on our defensive line. We've sent a long ball forward, which we can't win. Nyanzu brings the ball through again. Bellingham, Kimmich, it's stars all over the pitch for Bayern as they make their way into our box. That could have been curtains. Instead, we've hacked it clear through Junior, but Bayern are flooding forward. It's waves of attack. Kimmich this time, and there goes your time at Leverkusen. We're 2-0 down after 22 minutes, and any hopes of being able to pull off an upset seem to have been extinguished with that goal. Camavinga unchallenged to Wirtz. He plays the ball back to Camavinga, who dissects our defence. Kimmich plays it in, and we've got 3 centre-halves, none of them marking a player. We're 2-0 down. All of those well-thought-through tactical changes clearly made us a worse side rather than a better one, so we're throwing up a Hail Mary now. We're going to go to an attacking mentality. Manzano's going to move from the midfield and make a third striker, as we need a goal before the break, I think, to have any hope. And we have at least got a highlight. We've thrown it in to the box, and it was a great chance. We were inside the 6-yard box. The goal was at our mercy. The keeper has nudged it over the bar. We've at least got a set piece of our own, which Camavinga manages to head clear. And Bayern are on us again. This is almost unfair. They are just tearing us apart when they come forward. Chernyshев at least puts in a strong challenge to keep it at 2-0. Are we a little unfortunate to be 2-0 down? Bayern have only had 4 shots in the entire game. We've only had 2. But do we deserve to be a couple of goals down? Maybe we don't. And since we switched to a front 3, we have threatened a couple of times. Peña really doesn't seem at the races with that injury. We are now tied at 4 shots. They've had 3 on target. We've only had 1. And our XG indicates that we have had some good chances. Maybe this game is not completely lost if we can nick a goal before the interval. Mendes has the ball. Cardoso, who has really not repaid our faith in us, but Mendes has the ball now, and we've got Peña in, and he has pulled a goal back for us. He's doing the funky chicken as he runs to the corner flag. This tie might not be over. Bayern haven't seemed to react to our change in formation, and I think we might just have surprised them a little bit. The much maligned Cardoso does get a cross into the box. Maybe he wasn't a bad pick after all, and we're going into the half-time interval. Well, I was about to say just 2-1 down, but we're not done with the highlights yet. Wirtz has the ball. Are they about to kill our dreams immediately? Florian Wirtz has a good go, but he fires his effort wide. We've made it to the end of a breathless first half. We're still ahead on the XG, but we're behind on the scoreboard. We put out a little bit of a rallying cry at half-time. We pleaded with the players to show us more after that first half display. If we could get level in this game, well, excitement levels would rise, and Renier has the ball in midfield. Pedrozzini, who might be coming off soon, is in acres of space down the left. Can he deliver a ball? He can. Mendes, who's also been poor, gets the ball back, and he has tucked it home. I thought Renier should have scored from his effort, but we've come from 2-0 down against Bayern, a situation we've not been able to rescue earlier in the season. Once they've scored a couple, they've gone on to score 4 or 5. But today we've rallied. Renier could have been the hero. Instead, it's Mendes. We'll give it 5 more minutes and then I think we'll make our change. So we've reached the 60-minute mark and we are going to do some tinkering. Pedrozzini is still on a 6.5 despite his involvement in that goal. Pereida's body language seems to have improved and we're going to ask him to come and play left back for the remainder of the game. I could bring on 5'6" Thomas Vasquez, but I'm not entirely sure whether he has the stature for this occasion. Instead, we're going to trust Smits. He was appalling last game, but he is motivated by, well, team talks that we put out that weren't really aimed at him because he was on the bench. But we're going to bring him into the centre of the defence. We're also going to switch him over with Junior, and the other change we're going to have to make fairly soon is bringing off Peña, I feel, because his fitness is plummeting. We've got 1 more goal to find, but Bayern will probably be thinking the same. Florian Wirtz brings them forward. We need to try and win the ball off them, and we have done it. And Mendes has broken clear. Peña is labouring to try and get in the box a little bit, but Manzano, well, he dashes forward from midfield. He's clipped the bar with his header. On 75 minutes, I think we need to make another substitution. Peña is probably the man that would make way, but not now. He's on a hat-trick. He's risen at the near post. Reader has sent through a corner, and Peña has grabbed his 39th, 40th goal of the season, and he's done it on the biggest of occasions from 2-0 down with 3-2 up against Bayern. It can only become heartbreak from here. So on 75 minutes, we are going to make another change, and it's going to be a controversial one. I'm thinking of running Roberto Peña into the ground And Manzano is actually the striker that's not playing as well, so I think I might swap him out for Alexi. I think Alexi is a decent player. He's not got huge numbers of starts this season, but when you're on 75 minutes and the Bayern defence might be looking a little tired, bringing on somebody with pace and acceleration of 16 who can also run at you with dribbling of 16, I think might be a worry for them in order to get him squeezing right up against that back line and moving into some channels to receive the ball as well. I think we might drop Mendes to be the more supporting of the strikers. You never know. On 85 minutes, I might bring Pena in there as well, maybe to give him a bit of an easier time, but we still got one substitution up our sleeve. How long do we leave it before we throw on some time wasting? We have 5 minutes of stoppage time to play. The full time wasting is now on. I don't think staying on an attacking mentality is the smartest move. We'll drop that down to balanced, but I think I might leave 3 players up front just to give Bayern something to think about, because this back 7 still gives us a fairly solid shape, although I think we might need some fresh legs in that midfield to try and see us through injury time. We've got some good performances, but Renier and Rieder are both struggling a little. I think the man that we're going to bring on is Ceratosa for Renier. That's a pretty like-for-like change. That's our 3rd and final substitution made. Hopefully, we can see this out to the end of the game. And we've made it through to the end of the game. The stoppage time flew by, and from 2-0 down, we've managed to do the unthinkable against the great Bayern Munich, champions of Germany for 19 seasons in a row. Well, they've lost their league crown to Dortmund, and now they're having to watch as Leverkusen lift the German Cup. And our time in Germany, our second spell in that nation, ends triumphantly as our Leverkusen boys end as heroes. Pena, playing with that injury, managed to get 2 goals for us. And Mendes, who we were deriding, we were thinking about taking off, scores what turns out to be the winner. I'm going to chalk that up as a good day at the office. Unfortunately, no boost in reputation from that cup win. We're still stuck on 75% as a 4-star coach, but there's not really a lot to look out for in the job market at the moment either. However, I think a lot of clubs around Europe will shortly be dispensing with the services of their current coach, and we're going to be there waiting to take over our final club in FM22 Mercenary.